We had a very prolific insect season this year, and it seems like the mason bees and some wasps all used the tube to make a home for their babies. I'm glad I could be useful, but this is not the usefulness I wanted to be. Well, it's that time of year, and we get to do some maple tapping. It's just before February, a couple of days before February. Double checked last year in 2019. I tapped on February 2nd approximately. Other people I know did tap a few days ago, but basically we just had some other things that were going on, including, if you didn't catch our previous video, we wanted to move all of the siding off of our trailer. Today I'm going to be tapping. It's snowing. It's not even 30 degrees out. For this app to run, you really need your nights to be below freezing and your days to be above 40 degrees. So right about now is when that should start happening. And I'm just going to walk up our property line. We have some nice maples that I can tap, both sugar maples and red maple. Everybody's got their debate about what to tap and what not to tap, but basically you can tap almost every maple tree, and black walnut is the other thing we'll be tapping as well. That being the case, we do have more red maples than we do have sugar maples, but you know, it is what it is, and all of it makes amazingly wonderful syrup, and we'll go through that process later. So here we are heading up the hill. This year I'm only going to do one tap in each tree. Last year I did 2 taps in some of my really big trees. I have a couple that are almost twice this size that I did put a double tap in, but in this case we're just going to do single tap in every one. Behind me, or behind us, is the south, and you always want to find the southern exposure. You can also see down here at the bottom that this tree has some very big roots coming up through, and you do want to tap into one of those roots. Not into the root, sorry, you want to tap above one of the bigger roots, because your sap is going to be moving up from that point. Our taps require a 5/16 drill bit, and you're going to do that 1.5 to 2 inches in, depending upon the size of your tree and how much bark it has. Obviously you want to look up some best practices in your neighborhood, but basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow this really big root up and drill a hole, slightly upward angle, so that the sap will flow down from it. I have my bucket, which has a nice little spot right here. Oops. A nice little spot I can put that in. Relatively flat, or as flat as we ever get around here. And then I have a lid. These were the original lids that I did, and these actually have the hole in them just a little too big, but they work just fine. Put the tube in there. Now let's go for a walk back down to our other taps. Our little owl is still sitting here in the tree, and he might be pretty hard to see, but he's sitting there in the tree, or she. We have a number of owls, barred owls, around. This is the closest I've ever been to one that I've noticed. I'm sure I've been close to them before. So here's another large maple, beautiful canopy. Last year I tapped this tree, and I was getting around 5 gallons of sap per day, which works out to about a pint of actual syrup by the time you're done cooking it down. So we want to avoid tapping into the same spot that we did last year. But you can see this has got a rather large root coming up. And so we'll want to tap back into that root, or I can even tap over here one of these roots as well. So, but you can see that there were taps put in here previously. These are not my taps, these are someone else's. And you just want to kind of avoid putting them in the same spot. But this tree was very productive last year. So I just want to find a good spot to put it in. That in. There's a big root coming up from the bottom. I'm just going to tap right above that. Alright, that's our third tap is done. We're going to do, again, 6 today, which will cover this line. I'm not going to duplicate a few of the trees that I've tapped in the past. Some of the big trees that I've tapped in the past. I'm focusing on some smaller trees, but trees that I have personally never tapped for this line. And then we'll go find some more probably in the next day or two to tap. Many of our rocks have fossils on them, which is kind of awesome. Are you going to stay there for me? And there's tap number 4. It's relatively nice snow we got. Little grainy, but for around here it's pretty good. You know, I'm spoiled as a West Coast and Canadian skier, or Canadian, Colorado skier. I have a thing for trees and powder. And around here, there are trees, but the powder is not what it is back in California. But you know what? I wouldn't give this up for anything.